Hi, this is Craig Daniels. Welcome to Craig's Classroom. In this tutorial, I wanted to take just a few minutes and show you how to take a set of files that we're taking with a high resolution camera and prepare them that they'd be better suited for web optimized size. Now in this case we're taking a look at a folder of photos that will be used for a real estate listing, and you can see over on the side as I pick on a different photo over here that these photos are about 4,000 pixels across. Each photo might be about 16 megabytes each, and that's a great photo to have on file for a listing, a real estate listing, and that you might want to keep on hand especially if you're going to be printing higher resolution pages. But when you're uploading it to, say, the MLS or Craigslist or some other site on the web, or even a website, they don't need to be 16 megabytes each. In fact, that's just not optimized for a website. So I want to take a look at how you can batch process a copy of these photos into another folder that's a smaller sized copy that will be much faster and optimized for the web, and will be much faster for uploading and transmitting on a website and using it on the web. So the application I'm promoting today is a Windows application. Now, if you're a Mac user, you can use the Preview app that's built into a Mac. But in today's tutorial, I wanted to focus on the Windows side of things, and so the app that there's different apps I'm sure that you could use, but the app that I'm going to promote is an app called IrfanView. It's a funny sounding name, but it's a great little app. It's very popular on the web. It's been out there for many years. I use it all the time. So if you don't have that app already, we can go get it. If you go to download.com, which is a CNET website, go to download.com, and in the search box you can type in IrfanView. That's IRFAN View, and you can search for that app and download it and install it. And you'll see it's the app here that you can see, IrfanView. Go ahead and click on it. It's got that little red squiggly guy there on the icon. And if you don't have that already, you could download it and install it so that you have it on your computer. It's a well-trusted application. It's been out there for many years. It's lightweight, so it loads really fast, and it does some very useful little graphics editing types of modifications, and resizing photos is one of the things that it does well. It also does cropping and some other things quite well as well. But today we're just going to focus on the resizing, and specifically looking at batch processing so that it can process a whole folder in one shot and not have to do it one by one. So after you've downloaded the app and installed it, then if you want, you can make it the default application. Or in other words, if you double click on a JPEG, what happens? And I've made it my default application for opening a photo file. You might not want to do that, but it's by installing it, it's going to be available on the right-click menu. So if I right-click on a JPEG file, you'll see it'll now be available in the Open With option. So say Open With IrfanView, and you can always open up any JPEG at any point using Open With and then choosing IrfanView. Now if you wanted to make that your default program, you could say Open With, choose Default Program, and go ahead in the list that pops up, choose IrfanView to become your default. But there are other viewers that are built into Windows, so you may not want to change it to be your default viewer, but you can always do Open With IrfanView, and that will open up that photo in the IrfanView photo app. Now, what we want to do is, now you could just use your arrow keys here once you've got one photo open. I'm using my left or right arrow keys to go ahead and scroll through the photos so that you can see what you're working with. And it gets a good chance to preview your photos. And you can hit enter if you want to look at it in full screen view, which is kind of nice too. And you can hit escape if you want to come out of full screen view. But what I want to show you is how to resize these photos in a batch process. So if I go up to the File menu and then come down a bit here into the menu, there's a Batch Conversion and Rename command. And you'll see that all these commands in IrfanView have shortcut keys, and I like to use the shortcut keys whenever I can. So the shortcut key for future reference for batch processing is B for batch. So we can pick it on the menu now, but remember, if you just type the B key in the future, you can start a batch process. So what it does is it brings up this dialog box, and it shows you a view here of all the photos that are in this folder. And down here at the bottom is an empty box, and that's going to be a list of photos that's going to be processed. So basically, if you want to do the whole folder, you see there's buttons in here right in the middle, and one of them says Add All. So I could choose Add All, and that would choose all of the photos up above and put it into my list. Now, whatever's in this list down here at the bottom is what's going to be processed. I could also, let's clear the list. So let me back out for a second, show you another choice. If I say remove all, that clears that list out. Maybe I wanted to choose just some of the photos. It might be a special case where you didn't need to do all the photos. So I could click on a photo, and if I were to do, say, the Shift key and click on another photo, that would choose all those photos in that range. And then I could use the Add button. Instead of the Add All button, I could use the Add button, and that would add just those photos into the processing list. In this case, I want to do the whole folder, so I'm going to just go ahead and I'll go ahead and remove all and add all. That will create a whole list of everything, every JPEG photo that's in that folder. Now, a couple more things and we'll be ready to start the process. Over here at the top, what are the commands that we want to do? It can do batch renaming or batch conversions. Well, in this case, we're doing a conversion. We're going to convert from a higher resolution down to a lower resolution. It's going to output to JPEG format, so you want to make sure it stays as a JPEG and not some other file format. And we're going to use the advanced options. So that's going to be checked on, and we're going to come over here to the advanced button and click on that, and it's going to give us a whole new box of different things that it can do. It can batch process resizing or cropping, sharpening, rotating, all sorts of different things. You can explore that as your interest is there to see different things. But the focus today is to say we don't want to check all these other things, but this one right here, which is batch resize. We're going to set a new size, and down here it's got some options you can set according to the long side or the short side. So if my original photo was over here, we see the original photo was 4,000 pixels wide. I want, for the website, I'm going to come down to, I'm going to set the long side to 1,000 pixels. So if this didn't say 1,000, I could just go ahead and type in 1,000 here. And you can pick a different size according to the needs that you have, but usually for a website, about 1,000 pixels is more than sufficient for anything that you're going to display on the web. And that will get these file sizes down to a more manageable size. So change that to 1,000, just double check that nothing else is not doing anything else like cropping or anything else, and then go ahead and say OK. And that's the modification that's going to take place when we start the batch. Now, the only other thing that we might want to just keep in mind here is where are the files going to go to? And we don't want to overwrite the original high resolution images because we want to keep those safe for future reference. So what we can do is, in the case that I like to work with, I'll come back to my folder here for a second. You can see that I'm in a listings main folder. I've got one listing here, and inside that listing folder I've already put my photos in a folder called High Res. So that's going to be my high resolution originals. Now my goal would be to have another folder underneath there that we could call it either low res or small or medium res or something different, and that would be where we would keep the web size. Maybe we could say web sized or some folder name that would tell us that this is the secondary copy of the originals. So if I'm going to come back to my batch process application here, there's a button. This is the output directory. I'm going to click the button right underneath that, and it says use the current folder as the starting point. So click on that button. That's a good starting point, and it's going to show you the folder that it's currently looking at to get these files where they originally came from. So what I can do here is I can use my keyboard and just highlight the word high res, and I could overtype that and type in web or something, whatever terminology you like for your own use, to know that this is the smaller copy. So I'll just type over that and change the word high res for web. It will go ahead and create that new folder for me called web, and it will put the resized copy into that folder. Now, just a quick double check, this is the list it's going to process. It's going to do a conversion to a JPEG. The advanced options we have the destination folder. The only last thing to do is just to go ahead and do start batch, and you'll go ahead and click that, and you'll see it's going ahead and process each of those images. But you see how fast that goes through that list? Now if you had to do that one by one, in this case I've got 20 images, so in just a few seconds there it did those 20 images. So I'll go ahead and exit the batch. I'll exit this preview here. Now you see it created my subfolder, web, and there's my 20 images in the web size format. And if you look at the properties for this, you can see 1000 pixels wide, just like we told it to, and 179 kilobytes. And if you remember, those original images were up into the 15 or 16 megabyte size. So these are much more optimized for the web, and they'll be easier to upload to the different places, blog, Craigslist, MLS, wherever it is that we need to upload those into the web. Now there's another quick trick I'll show you in Windows. It's kind of cool. Right now we're in list view. If I right click in my open area here, I see a view menu, and you can see I'm in, well actually it's what this is called the details view, because it shows the file date, time, and file size, which is a bit useful when you're looking at a file, folder of files. But you can also see there's different sizes here, like large icons. And that will go ahead and show me the thumbnails of the different photos that I'm working with. But another trick that I like to use is on the mouse, the middle wheel of the mouse. If you roll the middle wheel, it's normally going to scroll. But if you hold down the control key and then roll that wheel upwards, it's going to head and zoom the thumbnails into a larger thumbnail size. So that's a really neat trick. Hold down your control key and roll the wheel up or down, and you can go ahead and change the thumbnail size, and that's very useful when you're looking at a folder full of files, photo files. Well, there you have it. Using Irfan View, we did a batch process. We processed all 20 files. We have them into a web folder. They're sized nice and optimized at 1000 pixels that we chose in this case, 179 kilobytes, and those are optimized and ready to upload to a website. Again, this is Craig Daniels. Thanks for joining me today for a quick tutorial on batch processing photo files.